2020, it was a pretty bad year. We all know how bad 2020 was. Nobody really got anywhere in 2020. Actually, I did. That was the first year this channel got monetized. That was the only good thing that came from 2020. But Onward was a movie that released in 2020. Okay, 2020 had the worst amount of films ever. Because there was nothing. And this is one of Disney's biggest flops. And it is not their fault, obviously. This movie launched when the pandemic was starting to become big. Yes, people will say it was because the movie wasn't good or something, but I think this movie would have actually made more money because if there was no COVID-19. If COVID-19 did not exist, I think this movie would have opened to around $60 million and made around $180 to $190 million. Because this movie was actually a pretty interesting movie. I won't spoil anything about Onward, obviously, because if you haven't seen this movie, I think it's definitely a movie that is worth unspoiled. But this is basically the synopsis of the movie. Yeah. So yeah. Basically they embark on an adventure because they want to see the father again. That's basically the whole part of the movie. They say it in its trailers. But yeah, this is a movie that is pretty alright. It is definitely not one of Pixar's better movies, but it's definitely a decent movie. Definitely better than Turning Red. But Onward why did Onward fail? Simple. COVID. COVID is the main reason why Onward failed. We all know this. That's why Soul and Ruka skipped feeders. And Turning Red skipped feeders for some reason, but Turning Red was a complete awful movie. And yeah. But why is Onward? But even to this day, when it comes to Pixar movies, nobody really talks about Onward. Unless you rank Pixar movies. When people talk about Pixar movies, they talk about Toy Story, talk about The Incredibles, which is a very overrated movie, Finding Nemo, Cars, Up, Ratatouille, WALL-E, as well, Monsters Inc., and you can talk, and of course, those are the movies that people usually talk about. Starting 2010 onward, Pixar really started off with a pretty big good start. Toy Story 3. Then they released Cars 2, which I actually like that movie, but a lot of people don't. And of course, 2012 released Brave, which was the most underwhelming movie that won Best Animated Feature. 2014, we got Monsters University, which is actually starting to get some praise. Which I actually liked Monsters University. I'm glad that Monsters University is garnering some praise. Because I actually watched it like once on TV, and I was like, this movie is actually good. Then we got nothing. I don't think we got anything in 2014. Then we got Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur. 2016 we got, I don't know what they released in 2016. Oh yeah, Finding Dory. Then they released Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, and then of course Soul and Onward. And in 2021 we got Ruka and Turning Red and Right Yellow 2022. It seems that this decade of Pixar, I think Pixar has been on the decline for a while as an animation studio. Okay, when you look up Pixar movies, you're gonna see the movies that everybody talks about, and for some reason Turning Red. That's because Turning Red's the newer movie. But I don't think Turning Red would be on the same area as Cars, Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Up, Coco, and WALL-E. And I'm surprised The Incredibles isn't here. But Pixar has made movies for a while as well. And they really stopped skipping years when it comes to making movies. The last year they skipped was 2014. Which, yeah. And they didn't make anything in 2005 either. And 2002 as well. But Pixar is making 2 movies in 2024, Elio and Inside Out, and 2023, Elemental. I honestly think that Pixar is kind of rushing out movies, which is why the quality of movies have declined. Onward and Soul both released in 2020. The reason why DreamWorks is able to handle multiple movies at once is that movies are smaller budget. For example, The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did not have a $100 million budget. These movies are pretty expensive. For example, look at Turning Red and Right Yellow. Right Yellow costed $200 million, and Turning Red costed $170 million to make. Both of these movies costed so much money to make. Okay? And I think Pixar will not be able to make all these movies anymore. Okay? Multiple movies a year. Because this is not a sustainable way. And we can see that by the box office and the quality of the movies. They spend a lot, but it's not really Soy. Something like Ruka, as well. They don't even have a budget for Ruka, as well. But yeah, but when it comes to Pixar movies, Onward is not really talked about. Toy Red and Right, talked about because of the new movies that came out last year. Ruka has this pretty sizable fan base. Onward, Soul is considered one of the better Pixar movies as well, up there with the greats. And the sequels, of course, sequels. We're talking about original Pixar movies. Onward is just as forgettable as The Good Dinosaur. This movie fell into the same category as Good Dinosaur. I think because the pandemic really scared people away from this movie. It also did release on Disney Plus, but again, considering that we saw the numbers for how poorly Disney Plus movies did, and how poorly movies like Turning Red did and Ruka did, Onward didn't really do much better. And Onward doesn't really have big of a fan base, and I don't really see Onward ever getting a sequel. This is going to be one of those Pixar movies that's just going to become forgotten, just like The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur is known for being forgotten, but nobody talks about Onward. I think Onward will fall into the same cap as The Good Dinosaur when we talk about Pixar movies later. When people make Pixar movies, people are like, Onward? What movie is Onward? Okay, and that's going to be basically what people think of this movie. So yeah, have you seen Onward? Do you think it's a good movie, or do you think it's a piece of garbage as well? And yeah, this is a movie that is kind of like exists, and basically this movie basically scared Pixar for making theoretical releases and so on. But Pixar is back to making theoretical releases. I don't think Elemental is going to Disney Plus first. I think they're going to release that at theaters as well. Well, Spider-Verse will basically reap the rewards of Elemental going to Disney Plus. But yeah, this movie basically released in a pretty bad time. That's why this movie flopped. This movie released when the pandemic was going around. You can even go back, back in time. Around the beginning of March was when COVID was spreading around the world. This movie didn't stand a chance. Same thing with Bloodshot and many other movies that were coming out. Which basically meant many movies had to release straight to streaming, because that's all they could do. And many movies were delayed because they want to release them in the theaters. And really, the theaters have not really been recovered since then. I think this year we're going to have a pretty good year at the movie theaters. We're going to have to wait and see as well. You have a lot of major releases coming out this year as well. And some more minor releases as well that could become super hits. For example, the 80 for Brady movie might actually become a super hit movie as well. But yeah, Onward is also a movie that was basically destroyed by the global pandemic. This is a movie that was basically forgotten, and you would think that people would be like, oh, we would watch it because it's a new Pixar movie on Disney Plus. But again, nobody cared. People did talk about when it came out basically in 2020, but this movie was basically just overshadowed by Pixar's next movie, Soul. Yep, Soul is Pixar's other movie of 2020. And I think this is the other reason why Onward is so overshadowed. Soul is a movie basically about life and death and the meaning of life. Onward is just an adventure. That's basically what Onward is. Of two boys that want to see their father again. But Soul is a much more memorable movie than Onward. It has much more memorable characters as well. It is still talked about among Pixar's greatest movies. But you don't really see people talk about Onward, because this movie overshadowed Onward in terms of popularity. And that's why Soul is much more popular than Onward. Despite both being made by Pixar, Soul won Best Animated Feature. Even though there wasn't really much competition for the year, because everything was moved to straight, because of course the pandemic went around, but Soul was much more popular than Onward. It probably didn't make that much money, because it was only on Disney Plus, but it was kind of like a good Christmas gift. And a hard time by Disney as well. It was kind of like a good Christmas gift that Disney decided to give to us as well. They could have easily delayed Soul and made it a 2021 feature movie when the theaters reopened. But Soul, they decided to release us on Christmas on Disney Plus. And of course, they thought to release us on Blu-ray. So if people had Disney Plus, this was kind of like a Christmas gift from Disney. It was a pretty great movie that really symbolized life, death, and the meaning of life in a time where the world was basically hopeless, struggling against, you know, a resurgence of COVID in the winter of 2020 as well. So overall, so is the second reason why Onward was forgotten as well. Onward is also a forgotten movie. It's a movie that people don't really care all too much about. Onward does have a fan base probably somewhere, but it's probably not that big. I don't really see Onward getting any sort of sequel series anytime soon. Soul got a sort about 22, and that was it. So I could see that movie getting a sequel in the future. Onward, I don't see Onward getting any sort of sequel in the future, considering the poor reception of Onward compared to other Pixar movies. Because again, you gotta realize that Onward was made by Pixar. Pixar is of course not no Brown studio, as well. Onward got the same reception as many of the DreamWorks movies nowadays. And heck, now DreamWorks is being better received than Pixar. Let's look at the two most recent movies, The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots. It really seems that DreamWorks has really struck gold with the new art style of Puss in Boots and The Bad Guys. I loved The Bad Guys. It was an amazing comedy heist movie. About five criminal animals becoming good, essentially, at the end of the movie. Yeah, I forgot the bug. Yep, the Tyrannosaurus one of The Bad Guys. But yeah. And of course we got Puss in Boots The Last Wish, which everybody, the dog and cat, will be talking about for years. Onward is not one of those movies that people will be talking about for years. Maybe this movie might see some resurgence like 6 years from now, kind of like, Megamind did. Megamind didn't really do too well at the box office, but now the internet is obsessed with Megamind. It is considered now one of DreamWorks' best movies. So Onward could become one of Pixar's better movies in the year. Doesn't mean because the movie isn't really popular now, doesn't mean it'll be popular in the future. But that's why Onward isn't a well-beloved Pixar movie. It just exists. Luca, which is also in the same category, still has a bigger fan base than Onward. And I don't really see Turning Red aging too well either. As Onward didn't really do too well as well. And do people even talk about this movie? Nope. Okay. As well. So yeah, Onward is just one of Pixar's failed movies, which is unheard of. But Pixar really had the first failed movie series with The Good Dinosaur. That's why we don't see anything related to The Good Dinosaur anymore, because that movie flopped as well. Well, I think that's why I don't see anything related to Onward anymore. You see stuff related to Luca sometimes, but Onward is nowhere. Soul, I don't think Soul has made much merchandise either. But again, Soul is more talked about by the intellectual people. The people who understand film. And those are the people who are going to keep these movies alive. Not kids. Yes, unfortunately, as much as boomers like to think, animation is just not for kids, obviously. We all know this. But Onward as a movie did not resonate with many people. It is a movie like of many of DreamWorks' movies, and many animated movies of the past decade are not going to age too well. Well, animation is seen in resurgence with movies like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Bad Guys, of course, the Netflix show The Sea Beast as well. Pixar is lagging behind DreamWorks and Universal. Heck, the Mario movie will probably make way more money than Elemental and Risk will do at the box office. But yeah, that is the tale of the movie Onward. And I think this movie really started to drag Pixar's name into the mud. And yeah, it is unfortunate that this movie bombed, because I thought it was an okayest movie. But again, not everybody thinks the same way. Goodbye.